don't mind kind of anything, do you?
No. No, I was raised.
Good evening. I call the March 18th, 2025 meeting of the Sarpy County Planning Commission to order at 7 p.m. Ms. Timby, would you please call the roll?
Ackley,
Here.
Brannock,
Here.
Mattia, Van Wielden,
Here.
Whitfield, Huddleston,
Here.
Dembinski,
Here.
Weiss, Kyer-Lieber,
Here.
Huck.
Here.
We have a quorum.
I invite you to join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is a public meeting subject to the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A current copy of the law is located at on the north wall of this room. Please feel free to review before making any comments. Introduction of planning staff and legal counsel. Don Simon, Planning Director, Kelly Jeck, Planning Coordinator, Nicole Spitzenberger, Deputy County Attorney, Stephen Preston, Deputy County Attorney, Lisa Timby, Permit Technician, Jose Garcia, Technology Services. Is Scott Bovick here tonight? Nope. And we do have a new member on our board, and I'd like to welcome Rob Huck.
Thank you.
Public comment. This time is designated for individuals to address the commission on topics not otherwise listed on the agenda. Ms. Timby, has anybody signed up to speak?
No.
As no member has signed up for public comment, does anybody wish to come forward for public comment? Seeing none, we will move on to the next agenda item. The first order of business is to approve or edit the minutes from the prior meeting. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of January 28th, 2025.
Motion.
Second.
Who motioned and who seconded?
I motioned.
Okay. Okay. Please vote. Seven yeas, 4 absent. Motion carries.
Let's move on to the public hearing portion of the meeting. Each agenda item will adhere to the following format as detailed in the Sarpy County Commission bylaws. The planning staff will introduce and briefly explain the agenda item. The applicant or the applicant's representative will be given 5 minutes to provide information about the project to the commission. After the applicant's presentation, I'll open the floor to public comment. Please keep your comments relevant to the agenda item, and to keep the meeting moving forward, please avoid repeating what others have said. Next, I'll close the public hearing and the members of the Planning Commission will discuss the agenda item. During this discussion, the commissioners may ask questions of anyone involved in the project. There is no requirement for rebuttal from others. There is also no time limit for this discussion. The first item on the regular agenda is a public hearing and recommendation for Greystone Manor, which has been withdrawn. With that being said, we'll move on to the second item tonight, which is the public hearing recommendation 18606 Cornish Road LLC has submitted a final plat application for a subdivision to be known as lots 1 through 8 and outlots A through G Cornish Road, being a platting of east 1/2 southwest 1/4 and east 1/2 of tax lot 2 in section 5 T12 North or 11E of the 6th Prime Meridian, Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located northeast of 192nd Street and Cornish Road.
Good evening, Chairman and Planning Commission members. I am Julie Ogden with JEO Consulting Group, consultant that assists the County Planning Department, and I'll be presenting this agenda item for you tonight. This is a final plat for, as the chairman said, 8 lots and a series of outlots. It is located just north of Cornish Ridge at about what would be called 186th Street. 192nd Street is over here to the west. So here's the vicinity map and the concept layout for the development. This property is 55.32 acres that is being platted. If you recall, when the preliminary plat came before you, the property at that time was everything, including up to this 40 acres that's to the north. That has since been split off by meets and bounds and is not part of this application. The property is in the conservation zone for the growth management, and they have provided outlots to make the 40%. So the outlots cover the environmentally sensitive area in this here. Outlot is here, here, and here. So there are a series of outlots A through G. As far as the layout and the road network, you can see there's a road that runs from north to south property lines that connects to Cornish Road, as well as a road that runs east to west. There was no road connection put in this area to avoid the environmentally sensitive area, and provisions are being made to allow, when and if this property develops, they would be allowed to connect to this section of the street as well as the connection that's provided up here. That way there's this, this is a very long distance, so that would provide them 2 connection points on that side. The current home, as you can see in the aerial, is located here. It will remain, and will be on Lot 2, the driveway that currently connects to Cornish Road. Upon completion of the interior road network, that driveway will be removed, and no lots will have access to Cornish Road upon completion of the development. As it's noted in the residential decision matrix for this area, that lots that are sized between 3 and 5 acres are to be served by either a community water system or a community septic system. It does not require both in this case. This developer has proposed to do a community water system. The wells, there are 2 wells currently shown on an exhibit. And here, let me switch to that because that'll make more sense to you. That's environmentally sensitive. Okay, so the 2 wells are located here in the boxes for this water easement that is on this outlot A. The water mains will be located along the north or the east side of the interior roads to provide service to all of the lots. This water system will need to be reviewed by the NDEE, Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy, unless it's Energy and I don't know which E goes first, but they will have to review. However, due to the number of lots and the anticipated public that it will serve, this would likely be considered, while it's a community system, it is a non-public system. As stated in the staff report, you need 25 CAPA to be considered a public system. All that means is there's extra testing, extra monitoring requirements as part of that. Should this development ever expand and that would change, then it could transition to a public system, so the county is recommending to the developer that he design and build it to the public standards. So that way it could be transitioned in the future if needed. The lots will each have their own individual septic system. They're being proposed, gas would be propane, and electricity will be provided by OPPD. They have provided their drainage study, and then there is no net increase in stormwater runoff in the conversion from the row crops to the acreage lots. So there is not a formal detention basin as we're used to seeing in some of the more intense developments. And they are working on providing how they're going to provide the water quality portion of the county's program requirements. Likely that will be through the creek and the environmental area, allowing that to filter out with tall grass prior to that, and then it falls through that area. So we're still protecting those environmentally sensitive areas. The last thing that I kind of wanted to review with you tonight prior to our going over our recommendation is that we are asking prior to, as part of the development agreement, we need more information on how they're going to lay out the water system so that we've got that documented as part of that. And we're working with the developer to have the homeowners association be created. They would be responsible for the maintenance of the road network as well as the water system. And then each homeowner that's adjacent to the outlot, so this outlot would be tied with this property, this outlot's tied with this property, this outlot's tied with this property, and then this one with that one for maintenance purposes. There are 3 other outlots that would either be transferred to the HOA or the developer is proposing to hold on to those for maintenance purposes, but that will be outlined in the subdivision agreement with the developer. As noted in the staff report, we are recommending approval of this final plat of the outlot of lots 1 through 8 and outlots A through G, Cornish Ridge in Sarpy County, subject to the comments and attachments in the Planning Department report, as it is consistent with the Sarpy County comprehensive plan, subject to the execution of a subdivision agreement, and there are 5 items that are still required, information that's required to be attached to that subdivision agreement. That would need to be, the subdivision agreement needs to be executed prior to scheduling this item for the county board. That's what I have for you guys tonight. Probably the last comment I wanted to make is, if you'll recall, for those of you who were here, I know we have a new member tonight, the road network will be constructed in phases. The road from Cornish Road up to the intersection will be built in a temporary cul-de-sac. The connections to the north, east, and west will not be built till either additional property on those sides are developed or a formal access is needed to either of the outlots for any reason. The cul-de-sac will serve the development until such time, so it's big enough that fire and rescue can turn around. Emergency services can utilize that. And driveways will be coordinated appropriately to roads as the homes go in, so that we're not coming in at a 45-degree angle off that cul-de-sac. Meant to mention that earlier. I apologize for skipping over that and making you backtrack a little bit. What questions do you have for me at this time? Perfect. All right. Let me know if there's anything else as you go through.
Thank you. I'll now open the public hearing for this item. I invite you to give your input on the proposed action. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Then I will close the public hearing portion if there's no further discussions by the commissioners. Is there any at all? Okay. I will ask for a motion, please.
I would move that we recommend approval of the final plat of the subdivision to be known as lots 1 to 8 and outlots A to G, Cornish Ridge in Sarpy County, Nebraska, subject to the comments and attachments in the Planning Department recommendation report as the proposal is consistent with the Sarpy County Comprehensive Plan, and it meets the intent of the Sarpy County zoning and subdivision regulations with these following conditions. Execution of a subdivision agreement. Information required for this agreement that is still needed includes providing documentation of covenants onto the development, if there are any. Next, providing documents that create the homeowner association, which will maintain community improvements and properties. Next, design of the community water system, including any review and coordination and approvals from NDEE as may be appropriate. Next, updates to drainage study and required improvements to meet water quality standards. And finally, addressing comments provided by planning and other departments or agencies which will be forwarded to the applicant as they are received.
Second.
Please vote. Seven yeas, 3 absent, Whitfield, Weiss, Mattia. Motion carries.
That concludes the regular agenda for tonight. Let us go to the correspondence agenda. And do the commissioners have any comments or reports? Okay. How about the planning department?
No comments from the planning department.
No comments, okay. How are we looking for next month?
We have one item.
One item, okay.
Should be a quick meeting, so.
Okay, then. With that being said, if there's no other items for discussion, I will adjourn the meeting. Be safe out there tomorrow, and I'll see you all.